We like to visit every month with our good friend and Oklahoma State Senator Brent Howard. And Brent out on the road today and called in with us. And first off, Brent, always great to visit with you, my friend.
Well, good to be there virtually, even though I'm not in the state at this moment.
Brent, I know there's several things we wanted to talk about this morning, and I know redistricting is on folks' mind, and I know there's going to be a special session to deal with that and some other stuff coming up, and wanted to give you a chance to kind of share about the special sessions.
Yes, well, thank you. It is going to be one of our last constitutional obligations that we've got to do for this year. We've already redistricted the state House districts and the state Senate districts, and those districts will go into effect by this next election. What we've been lacking on and didn't have the information for was congressional redistricting. And just this week, we finally had the announcement that the numbers from census on final, how many are in each household, which means that then we've got to redraw our 5 congressional districts. And so our special session to do that has been set up for November 15th, at which time we'll redraw those districts. I think that we'll still be solidly within Frank Lucas's district, but I know a lot of things around the Oklahoma City and Tulsa areas are going to change just because we've got a lot of growth up there.
You're out of state doing some meetings, getting ready as well. And what are some of the big things you're hearing? I know obviously COVID and the response, mask mandates, vaccination mandates. Brent, wanted to get your thoughts on where we're at as a state as well.
Yes. Well, we're seeing another little surge coming through our state as well as, through a lot of the United States right now. One of my colleagues that's here at this conference with me has lost 3 family members in the past 2 weeks. And, it's through this resurgence of the Delta variant. As far as our state, we took some steps as a legislature during our regular session, which one of those was that there couldn't be mask mandates specifically to people that are unvaccinated. Mm-hmm. So that's related to any governmental entity, which would include our public schools as well as, local courthouses, or any agency within the state. There's been pushback on that from both sides. For teachers unions have come in and said, well, we need to be able to impose those mask mandates, or we need to mandate vaccinations. And so there's been a few calls that I've received wanting to push that way. And then the other side is I've received quite a few calls, and recently our state party chair for the GOP is requesting a special session so that we can't that we would step in and prevent private businesses from putting any restrictions in. And ultimately, I think the goal for our government should be the least amount of interference as possible. Right. And in that tune is, the government shouldn't be the one that comes in and mandates these things, but also there is a lot of opportunity for businesses to do what they want, and that's the freedom part of living in the United States. That if you don't like business's policies, you can go somewhere else.
Where do we stand now? Have you had a chance to look at the number of vaccination rates in the state of Oklahoma? I know we were one of the lowest. Has numbers improved on that, Brent?
We have seen an increase in the people that are getting vaccinations over the past 2 weeks. But as far as our rate, that rate has gone up. We haven't gone up as fast as other states, though. Mm-hmm. So we still are in the bottom 10 on vaccination rate, which really is unfortunate. I would encourage people to get vaccinated. This is the best opportunity to prevent severe illness and death for the vaccination. Even though it's not stopping the spread, it is slowing it, and it is significantly stopping severe illnesses from this variant. But other states, are running into the same thing. And so the other states are increasing their percentages faster than we are increasing ours. And as the vaccine first came out, whenever we were looking at numbers in February and March, Oklahoma was actually in the top 5 on vaccination rates, but we've fallen off. We've pretty much everybody that has wanted to is able to. We're just trying to get good information out there so that those that will take the opportunity that will want to go in and get the vaccination.
And Brent, I know as we're heading back to school today here in Altus and a lot of schools in Southwest Oklahoma as well. So that kind of triggers the end of the year 2021. And I know as a state senator, you're wrapping things up for this year and also preparing for the next session. And what are maybe some of the big points that constituents are reaching out to you about?
Talked yesterday with the nursing coordinator at a local hospital, and just being able to get nurses in, the cost anymore is the biggest factor. We've had a lot of those professionals that have just been overworked throughout this last year and a half and are choosing to leave the field, or and kind of her issue was they're having to contract with out-of-state nurses and pay rates up to $195 an hour. Whenever they could have contracted 2 years ago for around $35 to $40 an hour.
Wow.
So costs related to that, getting people back into the workplace, and a big concern is going to be inflation. What do all of our household good prices look like whenever there's just so much money flowing around that really doesn't have the value backing it.
And Brent, if folks have any questions, I know as you're in between sessions, I know you're kind of back and forth. What is the email still the best way to reach out?
Email still is best. It's brent.howard@oksenate.gov.
All right. Well, Brent, always great to visit with you, sir. I appreciate you calling in on the road, and look forward to talking to you next month, my friend.
Well, thank you, Cameron. Keep people informed.